Okay, we've determined that this camera has a leak by submersing it in underwater with pressure inside. We determined that the leak is coming from this area here, which is the tilt journal seal. I have it marked with a piece of tape so we don't confuse it with the other side of the camera, which looks nearly identical. So the first step will be to determine which side of the camera to take apart. The two tilt stanchions here serve two different functions. One has wire running up through to the camera, and the one on the other side has a mechanical drive shaft that tilts the actual camera. So it makes a difference to us for the repair which side is actually leaking, whether it's the electrical side or the mechanical side. So the first step we're going to do is remove this pan base here to access the inner workings of the main housing. Then we will detach that pan base and outer housing and examine which side of the camera we need to disassemble. Okay, using a 3mm hex driver, we're going to remove these 4 screws at the base. I'll loosen them all first. If you do have pressure inside from a previous pressure test or purge, it's best before those screws are removed, so you don't bend anything out of shape, is to just release any internal pressure. So internal equals external. You can thread the cap back on just to keep it protected for now. So the screws over here. As you can see, I'm flipping the camera around quite a bit, and that's why it's best to keep your area of interest marked, because it's very easy to confuse which is which while you're disassembling. So the first step here is to pull the camera apart. It's a slow, slightly twisting motion, wiggle a little bit. There's an O-ring seal here and here that you have to disengage, but you want to disengage this one first. It's okay if this comes apart here also, but it's easier if this comes apart first. So we're going to grab on both sides and just wiggle a little bit. You can see it slowly separating. It's a good tight seal, so it's going to take a little bit of wiggling. Okay, there. It's apart. We can see some of the inner harnesses. This is the tilt motor here, the motor that drives the tilt area, and that's the area that we need to concentrate on now to make the repair. If it had been the other side leaking, you can see the wires right here, and that's the wires. They run up into the camera here, so that would be the wire side to take apart. So now we know we have to get at the tilt drive mechanism. Okay, so now it's best to remove this portion of the camera just to get it out of the way and not have it be an encumbrance as we work. So what we want to do is flip it over so the wires are toward the top and easier to access. You can tilt the camera head down like that so it doesn't roll away. And there's several harnesses that have to be unplugged because there's electrical connections from this side to this side here. So first, this yellow and green harness we can just unplug. Second is this white, brown, and black harness we can unplug from the circuit board. We can pull it a little further. This 8-pin harness here needs to be unplugged. Try to grab the connector, not pull the wires by the little edges on the connector. That is unplugged. Roll it a little bit this way, and you'll see a 10-pin connector here that you can grab the edges of and try to work it up evenly and unplug that. There's one more yet, so And we unplug it a little further. And there's a 2-pin connector here to this motor. You turn it so it can be seen right here. Okay, then we're going to set the back half of the camera away so it's not in our way. So you can rotate the camera here a little bit so we can see what we're working on. Okay, so the next step can be to remove the motor. To remove the motor, which is this assembly here, these 2 screws are loosened and the motor comes out this way. But first we must remove one of these rods. So we'll do that next.